If you were raised in a place where silence said more than any sentence ever could, I understand. Many of us grew up learning the rules of survival before we ever learned the language of our needs. We figured out how to keep the peace, how not to take up too much space, how to read the room before we read ourselves. And it worked until it didn't. What no one tells you is that a house built on unspoken rules still shapes the foundation of your adult relationships. That unmet needs don't stay buried, they sprout through your behavior, through over apologizing, through detaching, through that quiet ache when someone offers care and you don't know how to receive it. This week, we're giving voice to what quiet once tried to keep, not to place blame, but to better understand the systems we've internalized. Because maybe the reason we can't say what we want is that we were taught it wasn't safe to want anything at all. Let's talk about it. Unspoken rules aren't just passive lessons, they're often the loudest voices in your head. Don't speak unless spoken to. Don't cry. They'll think you're weak. Don't want too much. You'll be a burden. Even if you were never told these things directly, the way love was withheld or only conditionally offered taught you plenty. And now, you might find yourself hesitating before sharing something vulnerable. You might downplay your needs even when they're screaming on the inside. You might think staying quiet is the same as staying strong. But silence isn't just strength, it's armor. And even the strongest armor will weigh you down if you wear it for too long. Sometimes the hardest part of healing is realizing that the rules you once lived by were never yours to begin with. They were survival strategies shaped by someone else's silence. And part of growing is letting yourself question what you were told was just the way things are. Here's something that changed my life. Most bad behavior is just a need in disguise. Clinginess, that's a need for reassurance. Withdrawal, a need for safety. People pleasing, a need for connection without conflict. We act out needs we don't believe we're allowed to express. Because when expressing them once led to punishment, ridicule, or abandonment, we learned to bury them instead. But buried needs don't disappear, they distort. They show up in our choices, our reactions, our exhaustion. And when no one around us names what's really going on, we end up blaming ourselves for having needs at all. Consider this: you didn't invent the behaviors that shielded you, they formed around the shape of what you lacked. And you don't have to keep living by the echo of needs that were never met. Just because a pattern was passed down to you doesn't mean it belongs to you forever. So many of our habits were inherited: emotional suppression, perfectionism, hyper independence. We watched our parents or caregivers do it, and without ever saying a word, we followed suit. You may feel guilty for wanting to do things differently now, guilty for needing rest, or softness, or boundaries. But guilt is not a compass. It's just a byproduct of breaking a rule you never agreed to in the first place. You don't have to carry what didn't begin with you. You get to rewrite the rules. And maybe the first one is this: you are not wrong for needing more than survival. We don't owe our ancestors our suffering. We honor them more by healing what they couldn't name. Let your life be a version of love they may have never got to know. This is challenging, but rewarding. When you've spent most of your life not asking for help, the very act of reaching out can feel like a risk. But learning to name your needs is one of the most rebellious things you can do after a childhood that taught you to swallow them. Start small. I need a minute. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I don't know what I need yet, but I want to be honest. This kind of self expression builds a new trust with yourself first. Because the first person you have to convince that your needs matter is you. You don't need to be perfectly healed to ask. You just need to believe that your voice is worthy of being heard, even if it shakes. Learning how to ask isn't about mastering the right words. It's about teaching your nervous system that the moment won't collapse just because you spoke. It's about proving to yourself, gently, over time, that asking doesn't always mean losing. Maybe the lesson wasn't about becoming louder. Maybe it's about becoming clearer. Unspoken rules lose power when we name them. Unmet needs begin healing when we stop pretending they don't exist. It's not selfish to want softness or to hope for care. It's not dramatic to say what you feel before it turns into resentment. You deserve room to exist outside the rules you never asked for. You deserve language for your longing, and you're allowed to speak, even if your voice is still learning how. That's all for now. Let the old defenses rot where they were built, and say out loud what you once had to barricade.